Alright, hello everyone, it's silverkyle, and today we are going to be going over the pickups for the month of June 2020, and I have quite a bit here. More than I normally would. In my defense, I will say that some of the things that I have here were supposed to come out at the end of May, but were pushed back into June because of everything that's going on. But this is still quite a bit more than I expected. When I was starting to gather everything, I was like, ooh, this is quite a bit more than I expected here. It's quarantine, I'm spending money, it's keeping me sane. It's the only thing keeping me sane. Also, it is boiling hot right now. We're in the middle of a heat wave in Canada, where I live anyway. It is, I don't know what it would be in Fahrenheit, but in terms of Celsius, I think we're up to like 32 degrees Celsius, but feels like 37 or 38. The humidity is just insane. And my room has the AC, and it's beautiful in there. But the game room doesn't have that luxury, unfortunately. But I really wanted to make this video, so let's get into it. Some of the things you've already seen here before, because I did, I think, an overview of a few things, and I also did like a pickups for some of these Blu-rays and DVDs and 4Ks that I have here. So let's go on with that. First one is the Jesse Stone 9-movie collection. These are TV murder mysteries. I absolutely love these. I watched 8 out of the 9, so I only have the last one to watch, which I had not seen. I had seen, like, I think the first 6 or 7 of these beforehand, and so it was great rewatching them and getting to some newer movies too that I had not seen. There's something about these that are so much more relaxing. They're not big budget. They're filmed in actual locations. Like, it's not a green screen. They're actually in like when you're walking down a street. In this, you're in an actual street in the real world. Like, it's not, you know, a fake street. And I think that adds a lot to some of these movies. Any movie or TV show that does that. And I always love Tom Selleck. So, yeah, I'm very much enjoying watching that. I also picked up Mallrats. Haven't watched this yet. I watched it back in the day. But I haven't watched it yet since I picked it up. Same thing with Interstellar. Fantastic movie. Gladiator, fantastic movie. Haven't watched it yet on 4K, but I did watch, what is this? Ford versus Ferrari. Really good. This is probably definitely in my top 10 so far for 2019. I'm trying to watch as many movies as I can from 2019. Then I'm going to start going backwards in time, because I think that would be kind of fun to kind of go with, you know, really setting the time to watch a bunch of movies from the whatever year, and really, because I always try to do like top 10s for what the best movies are, or games or whatever, but I never really get to see everything or play everything, and so for movies it's a lot easier. So that's what I'm trying to do for 2019, and I'll start going back from there. Next up that I haven't shown yet is I got Grimgar, Ashes and Illusions. This is I guess season 1 on Blu-ray. I don't know if they're going to have another season, but I watched the first episode, and I was like, okay, that seems kind of interesting, kind of like my cup of tea. So I ended up ordering the first season, but I want to read the manga first, and then I'll get to that in a second. I also ordered season 2 of Attack on Titan. I just recently finished part 1 and part 2 of season 1. I had watched part 1 of season 1 of Attack on Titan a long time ago, and I've read the manga, or I'm reading the manga currently, which we'll get to also in a second, but very much enjoying it, and I wanted to have the next part of the show. Got The Hobbit, which I'll be reading fairly soon, because I just recently picked up Lord of the Rings, and I haven't read this in 20 years, because I was 13 years old when I first read this. I think I read it afterwards too, though. I never went back to The Lord of the Rings, but I do think I have read this probably another time later on in high school. I ended up reading The Hobbit again. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm going to run out of room. Next up, I thought I was picking up the manga, but I wasn't, of Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, which is the Blu-ray that I picked up, but this is the light novel. So this is an actual book. I did not expect that. And there's quite a few in these, 15 or something like that. I don't know the actual number, but around that number, I think. And I thought it was the manga, but no, there's actually only 3 parts, or 3 mangas. So didn't know that. I don't know if I'll actually read 15 light novels like these. I mean, the font is relatively big, and I think it's up to 300 pages, something like that. So I mean, I could read this fairly fast. I just don't know how good it's actually going to be. But it's different. I'll definitely read this at some point in time. Next up, I ended up getting a damaged Epic Collection of the Incredible Hulk. This is volume 3. What's this called? The Leader Lives. But this is my kind of Hulk that I would like. This is like, I never really enjoyed the first run of the Hulk. The way that he was drawn, he looked way too ugly, I find. And he still kind of has that look, but he looks a lot better than what he used to. He looks a lot more muscular. Before he was kind of like chunky, I find. And this suits the art style of what I imagine the Hulk. My Hulk is from the 90s, but yeah, you can hear the pages, right? Because there's water damage. That crinkly noise, I kind of like it, but I don't like the damage on the, I like the noise, but reading it, I mean, you can kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's like creases at the top there because of water damage. But I got it for a relatively good price, and when I did end up getting it, the damage was a little bit worse, so I kind of messaged the dealer, and I kind of felt bad afterwards, but he gave me a little bit off because it was much more damage than I expected it to be. And I was like, oh, I'm willing to send it back, but he brought it down a little bit. So, and because it is out of print, I was kind of okay with that. Next up is Attack on Titan, the Colossal Edition, Volume 3. I am loving Attack on Titan. I had first been introduced to Attack on Titan with the anime, so I watched the first part of the first season. Absolutely loved it. Finally got down to reading the manga, and oh, the manga is so much better. The twists and revelations that you get in this series with the manga and in oversized format like this is absolutely stunning. I love this so much, but in terms of the twists and things, I was not expecting it to be this good. And reading the manga makes me appreciate it so much more. Like I was saying, it's when they reveal something, I'm always like blown, and then I can't wait to see it in the anime. And then I watch the anime and I'm like, it's not having the same weight, because in my mind, when they reveal something, I'm like, what? That's insane! And then they kind of do it in the anime, and I'm like, why are they freaking out more? Like, they were able to freak out more in the manga because I could also imagine it a little bit more in my mind. It's not the same as reading a book where you can completely create the narrative or not create the narrative, but you can create the scene of the narrative in your mind. Whereas this, but you can still create a little bit when you're reading a comic book or a manga. So I'm loving this. I'm definitely, I cannot wait to get all caught up, kind of thing. Once the Colossal Edition number 5 is coming out in October, I believe, 2020 this year. So I can't wait to read that, and that brings us up to the 25th manga. This is volumes 11 to 15. So that'll bring us up to 25. And then I think that they're at 32 or something like that. And once I do get that Colossal Edition Volume 5, I will get the singles volumes just to get caught up with everything, because I am just absolutely loving this. And it got me into like a big kick to start reading more manga. I did an overview, and I might do an overview of these. I mean, they're kind of cool. Next up, I ended up doing an overview of this. This is Volume 1 of Dreadstar. This is an omnibus, but it's not really an omnibus in the sense of the size. In terms of the actual collection, yes, it is. This is an omnibus series. This collects, it doesn't say on the back, but I think it has the graphic novel of Dreadstar. It has the first 8 issues. It also has the Metamorphosis Odyssey, The Price, the Dreadstar graphic novel number 1, and Dreadstar in Epic Illustrated. So you get the full backstory of everything before you actually get into the single issues. I very much enjoyed this, reading it as a kid, and I can't wait to dive into it again. Next up, I ended up getting Xenoblade Chronicles. I haven't played this yet. I know, I'm crazy. I'm going to get into that soon. Also, just the way that the colors pop in this, it's so vibrant. I absolutely love this cover. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. So yeah, I'm going to get into it. I'm always so afraid of getting into big games, though, because I know it's such a time sink, and that makes me nervous for some reason. Next up, I did an unboxing of this as well. This is, I can never pronounce this, Rumano Prelude to the Fallen. This is a strategy RPG on the PlayStation 4. This is the first in the series, but they've released like the sequels, a few of the sequels here on the PS4 in North America. So this is the first one in terms of the story. So I can't wait to try this out and see how it plays. I'm not expecting great things in the sense of graphics, like you can't really see too well, But the graphics are nothing to be desired. Like they're chibi, and they. I mean, but I'm okay with that. I don't need the best looking games as long as it's a good story. And honestly, sometimes I prefer games that look more old school. Because N64 and PlayStation 1, I like a lot of what they do with some of the PSP games because they still have that graphic style that I like, that I grew up with, and I'm very nostalgic for that. So I'm okay with these things once in a while. I still like good looking games, definitely, but I'm okay with this once in a while. Next up, I ended up getting Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, and this is some kind of edition. I don't know what it is. I can't remember, but it looks, it's a different kind of case. It's like a cardboard. It's not an actual case. And this I ended up picking up because it was like $15 or something like that. So I was like, it's a good sale. I'll pick it up. Next up, I did an overview of this, and that is The Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel Decisive Edition on PlayStation 4, which kind of comes in this like deluxe limited edition set, because I'm going to try to get into the Trails series. It's another series that has a lot of games, but yeah, it looks like it would be my kind of game, up my alley. Next up is Berserk, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 1. I've been hearing so many good things about this, so when I finish Attack on Titan, I'm going to dive into this. I think the 5th volume just released of this recently, so I definitely want to get into this, see how it is. Heard so many good things about it. Can't wait. And it's hardcover as well, whereas the Colossal editions are softcover. This is a hardcover. Respect that. I would love Attack on Titan to have that format. But new X-Men. This is kind of going out of print, or it might be out of print, but the sales. I know that you can still kind of pick it up for close to retail price. I ended up getting it for less than retail price. I think it's $158 in Canada, and I think I got this for just a little over $100. And I don't even remember where I got it from. I don't know if it was an Amazon third-party seller. That's what I'm leaning towards, but I'm not 100% certain. I've been getting a lot of deals like that lately, including the Jeff Johns Green Lantern Volume 1 Omnibus. I've been looking forward to this for so long. I've never really gotten into I've never read a Green Lantern comic book in my life, but this definitely seems like a good starting point. I've heard so many good things about this run. There's 3 volumes. There's also Blackest Night and Brightest Day, which are kind of that kind of also have to do with this series. So I'm very much looking forward to this. This might be the next omnibus that I read in the next few months here. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm so excited, and I got it for a good price too. This one I think was $82 on Amazon or something like that, and they were having sales for volumes 2 and 3, but at the time I was like, I'm kind of tight for money at the moment. I don't want to just keep splurging on things, but I might end up doing that in July and June, or July and August, because if I end up loving this, I know that I'm just going to want to get those volumes, and I feel that they're kind of trying to get rid of them right now. So if I see them going down to like a good price again around the $100 mark, I might pick them up, because I don't want them for them to go out of print, and then have to wait years down the line. That's the problem, is that I have so many I have 28 omnibus and I've read 3. I know that's a really bad thing to admit, but it's true, because I want to read things in chronological order. And so sometimes when I see something that's on sale and it's a good price, and I'm like, that might go out of print soon, I end up buying it, and then it does go out of print, and then it shoots up into like $300, $400, $500 range, and I ended up getting it for like $100 or less, and then I have it. And then once I get to that point where I want to read it, that I can read it because I have all the other omnibus, then I can do that. But the problem with me is that I'm OCD, so I always want to have a good starting point. From what I've heard, Green Lantern by Jeff Johns on Volume 1 is a good starting point to get into Green Lantern. If I'm not jumping back to the original stuff, which from the Golden Age, I definitely don't necessarily want to read that. Silver Age, maybe, but Crisis on Infinite Earths, that could be a place where I could start Green Lantern, but that would span so many comics. So I think I'll just stick it with a little bit more modern. So that's it. That's everything that I picked up in the month of June 2020. I am so warm. I think I might go take a cold shower, or at least spend some time in the bedroom to cool off. So thank you all for watching. You've been bearded in. Let me know in the comments below what you picked up in the month of June 2020, and I will see you all next time. Well, it's heavy because of the books.
Beardage!